Hey guys, what's going on? Today we're going to be doing another video review. This is the series number 3 of my DMR series, or video number 3 of my DMR series. What we're going to be doing is disassembling the KWA SR10. So we're pretty much only going to worry about the lower receiver, and why we're going to do that is because the upper receiver doesn't have really anything to do with what we're working on here. So, in the interest of time, I'm going to tell you what you guys are really going to need. You're going to need a Allen key set. You're going to need a pair of needle nose pliers. I mean, that's kind of a given. Then, you're going to use probably the best thing ever that I've learned for teching. This is called a Teens turner. Literally just Teens turner, and this is going to be for your micro pins that you're going to need to unscrew, and there's only going to be really one of those. Then you're most likely going to need a hammer to knock out the one body pin that is existing in the rifle, and then you're going to need a rather decently sized screwdriver to take out your stock pin, and your screws inside of the pistol grip here. So the first thing that we're going to do is separate the halves of the rifle. You're going to get your Allen key. Obviously these I already have unscrewed, but this is a number 3.0 Allen key. Also, something that I do suggest is some sort of a little can. This is just a little old school camping cup, foldable camping cup. I suggest something that you can put your parts in once you've taken them out of your rifle here, so you don't lose things. So you get all of your things undone here, then knock the pins out, knock it out. Alright. Also, in the interest of time, when I'm working on something that's going to take longer, I'm just going to probably end up voice-overing it, or I'm just going to fast-forward it so you guys don't get bored with me doing this for 20 minutes. So, okay, so go ahead and set your thing, your upper receiver side. Like I said, we're going to be learning how to convert this gun to semi-automatic only. Now, the reason you would want to do that is because you built a DMR, and a DMR is generally signified or noted as a gun that shoots over 400 feet per second and as semi-automatic only, so that it may act within the engagement rules of a sniper rifle. So, it's semi-automatic as opposed to being fully automatic. So the next step is really your choice. There's a million different things you can do as the next step. My personal is remove your battery, make sure you do that, and go ahead and take your stock off. Now for this rifle, that's also kind of tedious and annoying. The newer KWA rifles, like, take your fuse out. Then there's going to be one screw inside of the black wire. And then there's also one inside the red, but I did take that out because I found it even more annoying. So I'm going to take my stock off here. Now, to take your stock off, you pretty much pull on the body pin, or not the body pin, but the pin until it. Normally you would have a plate there, so just lift up from the back on your plate instead of pushing in on it. Lift up and then pull your stock right off. And that might take some wiggling to get your wires out. As you can see, I pulled off my, my wire harness. So that just slips right back in. If this does happen, make sure that you put it in the right, positive to positive and negative to negative, so you don't end up with something that does not work. So your next step is, you probably can't see it, but inside there is a Phillips head screw, and you're going to go ahead and find it, which normally takes a little bit of practice to find because it's right in the middle, but the wires get in your way, so it's kind of annoying. So now your next thing is to get your stock and that little annoying plate out of there so that your wires and whatnot can all come off. See, this came off again. I'm just going to set that aside and do it later. Okay, so now that you've got that, you can go ahead and take your sling swivel off if you so choose, but that's not really crucial. So next step is probably your motor. So you've got this screw and this screw, which are generally Phillips. Okay, if you ever lose something, get it when you know where it is. Don't think about just, oh, I'll do it later, because then I promise you, you will lose things like I always do. So, go ahead and get your needle nose pliers and lift straight up on your wires. Now, I say straight up because if you don't lift straight up on them, then you run the risk of breaking your wires, and when you do that, that's bad. So, sometimes your motor will be locked, so you just want to kind of give it a couple pushes until it pops out under its own accord. There you go. This is a no-name motor, but it works phenomenal, so I'm not going to judge it. But I will be getting a higher torque motor. Now, generally you will have 1 or 2 screws at the bottom of this. Yet again, Phillips by normal standard practice, so you can just kind of rotate this out. Yet again, be careful with these wires, because if they don't come out correctly, you run the risk of breaking them, and then that's soldering and annoyingness. So don't break them. So next thing is probably your body pin that I need here. Alright, so once you've hammered it through, go ahead and just pull it out with pliers on the other end. This is quite a stiff pin, so there you go. And now you're probably going to try and take it apart and be like, why does it not come apart? Well, because you've still got this in there. So go ahead and find the smallest star key that you have ever found. I mean, seriously. I mean, look at that. I mean, it is so tiny. It's absolutely crazy. So, yeah, crazy. So, now we're going to go back to working on our gearbox here. I'm going to zoom in for you guys. I haven't really paid attention to this. Okay, so now what you're going to do is take out the center screw on your mag release. There is a screw in the middle of your mag release. Okay, there's 3 parts in there. You've got your spring, your button, and then the tiniest screw that you have ever seen. And you're going to take those 3 out, and then you've got your 4th part. Sorry, you've got your 4th part, which is the, well, the mag release button. But wait, you thought I was done. No, you've got your 2-piece hop-up, because KWA, like standard KWA practice, likes to be proprietary. So, you guys like my watch tan line right there? That's pretty nice, huh? Anyways, you're going to have to take the 2 Phillips head screws out of this booger. I mean, literally, KWA, could you be more proprietary? So I know we're already at like 10 minutes. Make sure you don't lose this, because the gun will not work if you don't have it. I know we're already at like 10 minutes, almost 11 minutes actually. Now you can jiggle it out. And so if you guys are watching this, thanks for watching. Now you can see your gearbox and clean the outside of your gearbox and oil your gearbox here. I mean, look at that. Ain't that just pretty? I mean, that's probably the prettiest thing you've ever seen. So now the next step is really what you guys are here to watch. So here we go. Alright, so assuming that you want to be able to have a DMR that shoots semi-automatic only, you're going to have to do something to make it semi-automatic. I know some fields, they don't really care how you do it, as long as you cannot make the gun shoot fully automatic. And then there are some fields that won't allow it to physically switch to fully automatic, but most will only care if it does not fire on semi-automatic. Some require internal modification, some don't care if it's outside. I know I've gone to a field shortly after I put a spring in here that shot 430, and they said just make it not shoot fully automatic. So I literally zip tied a nail onto the outside of here. But if you want your gun to be able to shoot DMR, feet per second at any field, here's how I suggest you do it. So first things first, you're going to take this little tiny spring off. I mean, this guy is minuscule and annoying because you always lose it, because if you don't do it with pliers, you will probably lose it. Here, let's see if I can. Always done it, just hold on to it. There you go, drop it in your bucket. Now that you've got that out, you can probably take this off. Now the easiest way to take your, this is called a selector plate. Easiest way is dig something underneath it in the middle so that you can get your, there you go, there in the middle, just so you can slide it off of this bracket here. Be careful, don't break it. It does bend, and it's okay if it bends a little bit. They are plastic. So pretty much what you have to do here is make sure that this does not get engaged. When this little guy right here, this little pin, gets engaged forward, that initiates fully automatic. So you need to make sure that it stays back. That's why that spring's important, because the spring keeps it from shooting fully automatic until you push this forward by turning your selector switch. Now, I mean, there are multiple ways you can do this. You can cut more of this out, your selector plate, that way, but that's not totally reliable, plus you might break this off when you're trying to switch it. The easiest thing to do is cut this right here. Cut it, about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch more, so it doesn't touch that little button. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put this in a vise, and I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Alright guys, so now as you can see here, I've got this selector plate locked down in the vise. Now I'm going to take my hacksaw here. If you don't know what a hacksaw is, it's one of these guys. And I'm just going to cut this off. I mean, not the whole top, obviously. I'm just going to cut, about 1/2 an inch, maybe a little bit, yeah, about 1/2 an inch. So, it doesn't take much, just that much cut as deep as I need to. Now I'm just going to cut it off. Boom! You've got a semi-automatic gun. Now I'm just going to shave this a little bit so it's not... Cool. There you go. Now, just if you have, some files or something like that, just go ahead and file it down. Don't breathe these; they're bad for you. Something about breathing plastic shards. Make sure you do not file the nub here that holds the spring. Otherwise, no bueno. Alrighty, there you go. Alright, so now I have my selector plate fully chopped, and then another thing that I did do, which you don't have to do, but it does help when you're trying to put this thing back on, is do kind of the same process to right here. Now this doesn't affect anything but make it easier to get your selector plate back on your gun, especially if you do intend on being able to switch this out in and out so you can make the gun fully automatic. Pretty simple. Now if you do want to make it so if your gun does lock up or whatever, sometimes lower quality guns, if you fire it so many times, it'll get it to just a point where you have to knock it into full auto to free it up. If you're worried about that, well then I suggest getting a better gun. But if you're worried about that, you can do a nice little easy modification here. You get a little piece of steel wire, you loop it around here, and you pretty much just have it hanging out of the side of your gun. So when your gearbox, or when this is on there and your upper receiver's there, let me give you a visual here. You're going to have a little piece of wire that just sticks out right there like that. And you just give this a tug and you can put it on fully automatic. Now that's not going to be very reliable, and plus if the ref figures that out while you are chronoing, they might get very mad at you for trying to cheat. So no, I'm not giving you a reason to cheat or a ability to cheat. I'm just telling you this you can do because your gun might lock up. I don't have to worry about it because the KWA, I've never had that problem before. This is pretty simple. Put this in the grooves. Remember, this thing does bend, but do not break it. Otherwise, you have to wait, 5 days for a new one to come in the mail. So, and see, I would have had to bend it a heck of a lot more if I had not put that groove in, or that secondary groove in there. So now I'm just going to make sure everything lines up. Boom. Almost, it didn't catch. There we go. Alright, awesome. So now, pretty much you just reverse the process. I'm only going to take you to putting the spring back on. So the easiest way to put the spring back on is get needle nose pliers here. And let's see if you can see this. Alright, so get your needle nose pliers, you put this inside, and you just scrunch the spring. Let's see if I can do that again here so you guys can see it. Scrunch your spring up. And then go about doing the same thing, just backwards. Like I said, I'm not going to do the whole reassembly. If you guys want me to do a whole entire gun reassembly here, I can, but I'm not going to at this given time. Alrighty guys, so as you can see, I have the gun fully reassembled after doing the semi-automatic process on this gun. You can see I did repaint it since the announcement of the gun. If you guys want to know how I did this paint job, I will probably be doing a short little series on how episode on how I did this. But this is your end product with the semi-automatic. Currently I have an 11.1 volt 25C output 1500 milliamp lithium polymer battery. It's an RC battery, so it's much cheaper than an Airsoft battery, but it is literally the exact same battery. So, like I said, it is already connected, so I am just going to have it on safe, nothing, semi. You can hear it bouncing off the sound here, so. Then fully automatic. Let me just give you a trigger hold here. So as you can see, completely semi-automatic, will not flip into fully automatic. Very decently easy. It's only going to take you about 25 minutes to do. especially if it's a first time, 25-30 minutes. It's only going to take you a short period of time, but it is well worth it because you don't have to worry about a pin being bolted into the outside of your gun so it doesn't flip into fully automatic, or you know, something ghetto like a nail being zip tied onto the outside of your gun. Or, you know, you don't have to worry about the parts breaking inside because they're chopped, so nothing is contacting. So if you want the gun to shoot fully automatic, you just put a selector plate on it that still has that little nub that you cut out. And pretty much then you have a fully automatic gun. So that's completely up to what you guys want to do. So thanks guys for watching. This has been another Airsoft Dude 1 production. I'm out.